This call is now. You did it.
Ooh. All right. The only other thing I'll warn people of is Google Meets requires me to admit everyone because everyone's outside of the SWE organization. So if at some point I stop talking randomly, it's because I need to click a button and admit people, which will hopefully result in less questions, but I doubt it. Okay. All right. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes. If I start at 8:03, we should still be okay to make the whole time. Mm-hmm.
Happy New Year to everybody. Megan also did such a fantastic job of the first round of presenting this. So you all will get a very thorough overview.
Oh, Lisa, you're so nice. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone. We did have enough questions on the first one that I did make some edits from the slides. So hopefully the new slides will be going up after this call. Very minor changes, but a few clarification questions will be helpful. Okay, well, I'm going to get going. Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to FY26 awards cycle. My name is Megan. I am the FY25 working group chair for awards and recognition. Lisa, also on the call, is the chair-elect, so she'll be in charge next year. And we're going to go over the FY26 awards program nominator and nominee training. The awards did open and everything was available on Monday. I have gotten a few email questions already, so it seems like things are available and people are looking at it. So we're going to get started. So this training is intended to help people nominating and for nominees to apply to the SWE Awards program. It allows us to look at what the structure is, how to determine your eligibility, choose your award, or the award your nominee is best suited for, and make sure that you can submit their nomination with all of the components. So we're going to go through all 5 parts, and then I'm going to cover hopefully any questions that come up. And if we have time, then we'll go over the Smarter Select navigation guide. It's pretty step-by-step. So if we don't have time, I wouldn't stress about not seeing it too much. All right, so for the first module, we're going to go over how to locate the SWE Awards program packet, the difference between all of the awards, and then determining how to sift through all of the 36 awards for which one your nominee is best suited for. The SWE Awards program works in conjunction with the SWE mission to make sure that we can recognize SWE members and other individuals that are enhancing engineering and the engineering sciences, to advocate for individuals that identify as women in engineering. And our working group really strives to celebrate the lifelong contributions of engineers and technologists for the society and the world. So all of our awards are in those veins, and you'll see that as we go through what the breakdowns are. The awards program packet is updated every year. It contains instructions on how to apply. It contains links to the awards program Smarter Select system. The windows for nominations, January 2nd through March 1st of every year, Central Standard Time. The packet will be under the SWE Awards program on the website. Let me see if you can see my website. Okay, so, but it's under awards, and then there's the awards program, this drop down on the website. The experience calculator is also updated every year. So this one is FY26 experience calculator. So that link is slightly different. And I have more people that want to. Yes, admit all. Okay. And then the nominator and nominee training slides are also on the webpage. So the awards program structure is broken down into 2 levels of awards. The Apex Awards are the highest level of awards. Those are the ones that are recognized during the annual conference. And the Ascent Awards are all other significant achievements. And typically the experience goes from professional or over 20 years to Ascent Awards, which are student to mid-career. And then there are 3 award leadership tracks. So the leadership tracks break down into essentially between the Apex and Ascent Awards, what are the general themes for the awards being recognized? Academia, management, and technical leadership, advocacy leadership, and SWE leadership. You will see that most of the SWE leadership awards require SWE membership, and almost all the academia, management, technical leadership, and advocacy leadership do not require SWE membership. All right, so we're going to talk about the progressions. So as I had said before, a lot of the awards are segregated by years of experience. And you can see this on the breakdown that it goes up in years of experience. So every time you kind of break into the next 5 to 10 years, there's a different level of award available based on the amount of experience, both in leadership and in technical acumen or achievements that you or your nominee may accomplish. And they're broken down by Ascent Awards in blue and Apex Awards in green. So for academia, management, and technical leadership track by years of experience, you can kind of see visually, if you have an idea of what your nominee or yourself have achieved, you can start sifting through which of the awards you might be eligible for. The advocacy leadership ones are also similarly broken down. They generally start at less than 10 years, 10 to 20 years, over 20 years. The 2 new awards for this year are the Boeing Company Multicultural, which is for collegiate groups, and the Motorola Foundation Multicultural, which is for professional groups in accomplishments of advocacy. And then lastly, we have the SWE leadership track groups. So there are collegiate groups accomplishments and then professional membership accomplishments. And then in collegiate support. So when you are going to choose which SWE award to apply for, you really want to know where are you in your experience, either in career or SWE leadership. Which of the award leadership tracks does the breadth of the work towards the SWE mission align to, and which award subtrack is it best aligned to? So once you start to narrow some of those filters down, you can review the longer list of qualifications in the SWE award program bracket. Most awards have eligibility experience. You need to submit the experience calculator to confirm eligibility, and the full page description of all of the qualifications and requirements for the award give you a much better understanding of what's required. So for example, we have this individual, Rachel Lee, who's project lead, and her professional experience is 12.5 years. And her global experience, because there are some global awards, is 0. SWE professional membership at 3, and no past awards. There are a few awards where you can't have won the award previously to be eligible, and sometimes that's a consideration. So you can see how, based on the professional experience number of years, I've narrowed down some of the applicable awards. And then you go through and the qualifications and essentially determine which one based on what you should start with as the experience calculator, because not all experiences count for every award. There are also 12 SWE Ascent awards that have one award per global region, counting all qualified nominees' submissions. So if there are no submissions that meet qualifications, then the award is not handed out, based on the 5 global regions, which are listed here. All right. So that's the general overview. As always, if you have specific questions after reading through the packet, please do email awards@swe.org. But we're going to go slightly more into depth about locating qualifications for specific awards and calculating using the experience calculator. So, of course, a breadth of information is located in the SWE awards packet. I believe it is almost 90 pages now, so it has a lot of information in it, which is why it's very helpful to kind of narrow what you're looking for before you go into it. Every full page for every award covers first the objective of the target audience for the award and the list of qualifications. So as you can see for the Resnick Challenger Medal, right, qualifications, nominee must have 10 years of experience in aeronautics, astronautics, systems, subsystems, electronics in a space-related field. And generally you can determine that because the history of the Resnick Challenger Medal is established in honor of Dr. Judith Resnick. So after you determine what the objectives are of the number of years of experience or any specific experience requirement, you go through calculating years of experience. So most SWE awards have a requirement for experience either professionally, collegiately, or in SWE leadership. The experience calculator has ways to calculate that for every single one, and it is very comprehensive in determining first which award you're applying for and then how the experience is counted for that specific award. It calculates experience through March 1st, which is the deadline for submission. And there are appendices in the awards program packet that cover specific examples, which is helpful in answering a lot of questions. And you can find it on the SWE Awards program site at SWE.org. The experience calculator is required to be submitted with every individual awards submission. How to use the experience calculator. So the experience calculator is an Excel file. It has a drop down. You select any of the awards that you're interested in. It has all of them listed. And it shows the drop down, so it blocks off the years of experience sheet required, but it will tell you the number of years of experience. You can add what you believe or what you know to be the it will list if there are any special experience requirements. As I stated before, all of the SWE Leadership Track 1s require SWE membership. There are some other experience requirements that are also listed. And it will tell you based on those 2 criteria if you're eligible or maybe eligible or not eligible, or recommend another award. There are tabs for each individual award that is very specific, and then there's a tab that for all of their awards. So for example, if you're nominating a SWE Collegiate, you'll go to the SWE Collegiate tab. But if you're being nominated for Engaged Advocate, you'll end up under the all of the awards. And that's where it tells you the sheet is. Calculator will tell you which experience worksheet to go to fill out, and then you'll navigate to that tab. When you're using the experience calculator to conform eligibility, you list your experiences, you select what your role type was, internship, co-op, full-time, part-time, master's degree, leave of absence, etc. It filters based on the award, whether or not that counts towards experience. You put starts and end dates, and it calculates time in months. Please do not try to make this for yourself from scratch because it's calculating on the part of a year at the cutoff of the submission deadline. If you try and Excel math it on its own, it won't work the same way. I actually have had a nominee do this before, and they're like, oh, I tried to make it easier by doing this, and it just didn't function. So we have written this so that it conforms to the calculations of the years of experience for the SWE awards deadline based on the SWE fiscal year and the cutoff of when submissions are due. So please just fill out the cells that are in yellow. So once you've filled out the tab, you can fill in the nominee's user experience. It'll tell you what the award's upper and lower limit are and whether or not you are eligible. So for this example, the candidate does not have the full 20 years of experience, likely because they thought master's while working full-time was going to count, and it didn't. And so it will suggest a different award that you might want to consider nomination for. So experience calculator, very helpful. This is an example of where some of the awards have additional experience requirements that would be required for eligibility. So Distinguished Engineering Educator requires some additional things that are listed out on the experience sheet. There are also many SWE awards that count experience for military and other non-traditional engineering experiences. You can see an example of these, which list and count and list as work experiences, even if they were prior to earning a degree in engineering. And then lastly, there is some clarification this year for the undergraduate SWE awards. If you are nominating a collegiate student that is not a SWE member but is active in SWE, this is a new drop-down member type that is available under just the collegiate awards, right? Non-SWE member, active in SWE. There are a lot of collegiates that are active in other organizations that do partnerships with SWE activities, and those things do count for some of the undergraduate collegiate awards. So that is new as of this year. Okay, preparing to apply. Each application involves a pretty comprehensive nomination package. All of the requirements are again listed in the awards packet. Generally, they consist of a formal statement written by the nominee, the nominee information survey, which is just a list of demographic information that SWE collects in the system, a resume or CV, the experience calculator, as we've already covered, supporting or recommendation letters, a biography, and a professional headshot. There are some awards that require a few additional items, but this is the general list for all awards. So if you are a nominator, you want to make sure that you have discussed with the nominee what the best award is that suits your candidate, verify that they meet the objective and qualification requirements before you start this process. You will also, during the process and open application period, have to verify all required items are complete. The system will help you do that, but you will be the only one that can see it. Make sure that you complete the appropriate online application for the award that you want to apply for. It does happen where people start the application and it's for the wrong award. So make sure to double check that. Do confirm that the phone number and email address provided on the nomination form is current and that you can access it. There are a lot of email addresses that for some reason, if you put in corporate email address, it gets blocked or bounced, or they change it, and the system will not know to forward. Make sure this full application is submitted by March 1st, 2026. Inform the nominee you will have to inform the nominee of the result in June. They contact the nominator before they email the nominee. And serve a point of contact between SWE and the nominee for all communications. The nominee will have to help calculate their years of experience, complete the nominee information survey, which is the demographic information that SWE asks for, prepare their formal statement, identify recommenders, update or prepare their resume. For any of the SWE Leadership Track Awards, you also need a SWE resume, additionally, biography, and a professional headshot photo. And then recommenders, anyone that you ask to submit a recommendation letter needs to prepare a letter of recommendation and submit those via PDF. This is also new this year. All of the letters of recommendation will be submitted through PDF instead of copied and pasted into the system before March 1st. Additionally, it has been true that nominees can self-nominate. So if you're interested in nominating yourself, you can do so. Just know that you are responsible for everything in both the nominator and nominee columns if you do that. The SWE Award nomination checklist is available in the awards packet. It is also gives you a list of each award and will hyperlink in the document to the actual award, which contains additional qualification items. So, as part of the nomination packet, formal statements are required. Formal statements are generally a list of things the nominee has been involved in. You should ensure that your nominee addresses all selection criteria as listed in the qualification part of the award. Make sure that they include tangible results. Judges of the awards only score any of the materials presented in the formal statement. So if there's something listed on your resume that is not in your formal statement that would help make the nomination package better, the judges likely will not be able to score it as the formal statement is judged on its own as part of the packet. Judges do come from a variety of backgrounds. We send out the request for volunteers for judges in February. So it is important to ensure that acronyms or specific field of expertise terms can be either defined or described in a way that other people will understand. SWE does understand that some work is protected for NDAs or other security reasons, and there is a SWE magazine article that is a great resource about how to write up an awards packet for information that possibly can't be disclosed in its entirety. Disqualification criteria is covered on page 6 of the SWE awards packet. Most of the disqualifications are you've applied for the wrong award, your application is incomplete, you have previously won the award, you don't meet the years of experience, or your resume exceeds or so your formal statement is 2,700 words instead of 2,500 words. So make sure that you triple check the package for all of the above. Otherwise, you will receive disqualification email.
And it seems to make sense just to underline this because it definitely does happen, right? So being extra attentive, and Megan is being so clear at each of these pieces, but please do understand that's not a minor point.
Yes. And if we have time to get to the appendix, we will do so, and you'll see some of those places where you can verify and double check that. The screenshots are available. Okay. So in the SWE awards packet, there is a link in every full page award that says apply for the award. It will take you to Smarter Select to allow you to start your application. in Smarter Select. It does have recommendations about platforms to use if you're submitting it on a mobile phone. I just would not recommend that you do that. I mean, I know some of the phones are getting bigger, but there's just a lot of things to submit. So I would recommend that if you're going to start the application, maybe do it on a computer. So once you click apply for, it will take you to the Smarter Select webpage where you will, if you have not before, create a user ID and password. You can preview the nomination forms without doing that, as you can see here. But if you, just to make sure that you have selected the right award, right? So it'll say it up at the top. You can preview it. It'll say it all the way through the application. And so you can create a new application or continue to an existing application. It will have you create a login if you do not have one already. And each application is given a unique application ID, which is how we track them for judging. So again, ensure you have selected the right award. Nominators or self-nominees will be required to complete all of these fields: the nominee information, nominator information, years of experience, recommender information, biography. So if you are nominating somebody, you will take all of the formal statements, CVs, experience calculators, and you will upload them. If you are self-nominating, you're responsible for doing all of that. We recommend strongly using personal email addresses rather than company email addresses. Smarter Select is just a system, and emails from them do tend to be blocked from some employers' web securities. So if you have problems, awards@sui.org can do some things, or if you change jobs and your email address for Smarter Select needs to be changed, please do let us know. Nominators should track the status of the nomination to ensure the required elements come together before the March 1st deadline. It is the thing that takes the longest is recommenders submitting their supporting letters in PDF format before everything else is done. Everything else is just uploading. Recommenders you actually have to wait on. So it is strongly encouraged to give them a deadline that is before March 1st, just to make sure that that's done before you get there. Nominators receive email communications as things are submitted, so make sure that you also check your emails. Before you submit the application, hopefully before March 1st, 2026, confirm that you have applied for the intended award. It will ask you that in the confirmation before you submit, that every single piece of information has been uploaded and submitted. Smarter Select will tell you if things are attached correctly. And then check your email for confirmation. If you have not received a confirmation email within the hour after submitting in Smarter Select, please send us an email. It says 5 minutes, but if you're doing it on March 1st, it might take a little longer. Okay, and then nominators are notified concerning the outcomes of the award by selection process by June 30th, 2026. And so the email about the selection process goes to nominators first. Individuals are only allowed to receive one award per year, and recipients are honored at the SWE annual conference, both in the virtual awards hall and in the SWE publication. There's a awards reception where you get your actual physical award. And if you are an Apex Award winner, you will be recognized on stage at the awards ceremony. Okay. We're going to go through a couple of summaries and some important points that I want you to remember. And then I don't see. And then after the summary, I'll cover any questions that have come in. And then if we have time, we'll go through the appendix. Okay. So full instructions for applying for the SWE Awards program can be found both in the slide deck, which will be up on, there's already a version up on the website, and under the SWE Awards program dropdown. There are two different levels of awards, Apex Awards and Ascent Awards. Each of those are covered into 3 tracks: academic, management, and technical leadership, advocacy leadership, and SWE leadership. So make sure that you ask, how much experience do you have? Which of the leadership tracks does my experience align to? And which subtrack does my experience best align to? And make sure that you use the experience calculator to confirm eligibility before you settle on an award. Use the awards program packet as a guide to bring your nomination package together. There's a checklist and a 1 to 2 page description for every award, and an appendix that covers any relevant examples that we may have already run across that might answer some of your questions. Make sure that you give yourself enough time to write your formal statement. For the Apex Awards, where you have more than 20 years of experience, those things are, I think, limited to 3,500 words. Those are a lot of words. And so you want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to review and make sure that you've covered all of the relevant experience. Make sure to give your recommenders an early heads up on what's needed. Confirm they can make the due date, possibly suggest that the due date is before March 1st, and make sure that they are legally allowed to write a recommendation. Last year, based on some of the companies based in the US were hampered by an executive order as issued by the US administration, and were not legally allowed to write recommendation letters after people had been asked. So confirm that anybody that is requested to write a recommendation letter is legally allowed to do so before you start and submit their name. We do not guarantee that nothing will happen between now and March 1st, but we know that this happened last year, and so we want to give you guys all heads up to make sure before you sign somebody's name up for it that they can legally do so. You can look up if somebody has already received an award on the awards program website. And of course, apply using the unique link in the award program packet to the Smarter Select award you're applying for. The window to apply ends March 1st at midnight, Chicago Central Standard Time. Again, for any questions, awards@swe.org. Okay, I saw some questions come in, so let me go to the chat. All right, first question. Do you need to be employed at the time of submission? No. I don't think there are any awards where you are required to be employed at any point in the awards process. Although there's 36 of them, so I could be wrong, but I don't think so. While someone can only receive 1 award per year, can an individual be nominated for more than 1 award in the same year? Yes, they can, but if they are determined to be qualified and receive very high scores for both awards, they will only be issued 1 of them. On the SWE resume, can you put other volunteering experience, or is it just roles in SWE? That is a question for the awards packet. All right. Upload the SWE resume. It's in here somewhere. All right, SWE track only. Maximum 4 pages. Indicate SWE collegiate and professional membership start dates with service dates and roles. Can include accomplishments and impact to SWE's mission. So any experience that works towards SWE's mission can be included. Hopefully that answers your question. Will I be talking about the differences between SWE Awards program versus the SWE recognition program? No. The SWE recognition program is later than the year, and it's always later in the year. Nomination cycle begins in April, and it ends in June. And then we do the recognition cycle from July through the end of August. So it's a totally different thing. It is separate. So. Regarding the restriction on writing letters of recommendation, how would an individual know if they cannot submit one? If you ask them, they should know. That you describe to them what you're trying to do, what the program does, what is required of them. There's a whole lot of information in the SWE Awards nomination checklist of like how to communicate and talk to recommenders about writing letters of recommendation, and they'll know, or they'll know who to ask if they can write one. A lot of those companies were told last year when the executive order came out whether or not they were allowed to write recommendations for awards for diversity organizations. So, and if they don't know, I would recommend finding someone else.
Just so you don't run into trouble. To that, in my experiences, a suggestion could be to have them talk to their HR partner.
Mm-hmm. That as well. Is SWE recognition program that applies for individuals only related for patents? Ooh, I do believe that the only individual recognition, no, it's not. No, it's not. There are other recognition program items that are available to just individuals that are not just patents, but the patents is the largest one. So please attend the recognition program training in April. You should probably schedule that. Okay. Still got 20 minutes. So I don't see any other questions for now. So I'm going to go through the Smarter Select navigation guide. If any other questions come in, we'll try to get to them before the end. Okay. So the link to Smarter Select for each award is in the awards packet. It will take you, we checked them all, they all work. It will take you to the award link. And it will say the award name. These all look the same except for the dates. It will either ask you to create a new application if you're nominating more than one person. You will need to create a new application for each individual nominee or continue an existing application. You can also preview them to see everything that's required to make sure that it is exactly the award that you are looking for, because the qualifications and the requirements should be the same as what's in the packet. So ensure you're continuing the existing application that you, if you're nominating more than one person, maybe write down the application IDs and connect them to the names so that you can ensure that you go in and update the correct ones. Complete the nominee information. Again, it is strongly recommended to use personal email addresses. And then complete the nominee information. The nominee will get an email that will ask them for their specific nominee information, which is kind of like the demographic survey. So they get an email about that once the nominator has opened the application. Nothing else will proceed until this part has happened. So nominator opens the application. It will send an email to the nominee to go in and make sure the application is open, fill out their demographic information. You cannot send out recommendation letter requests or upload anything until the nominee has done this part. So the nominee information will stay pending until the nominee has finished it, and you cannot fill out anything else until they do so. Once the information survey is completed, the nominators will see a status change in the application form. Nominator contact information. name, phone number, email, etc. Make sure your information is current and correct. If there's not a second line in the mailing address, please enter NA. Thing with the system. You either have to have it, you have to have it. And so you can just put it in NA. Complete the nominee qualifications. SWE membership ID, you can ask them for it. You can email SWE membership at SWE.org. I think there's a way to look people up in the portal, but and then you're going to load all of the documents in using a naming convention. The naming convention is listed in the awards packet in appendix one of them. I think somewhere near the end. So it'll always be the acronym for the award. That's the table that's in the appendix of the awards program. First name of the nominee, last name of the nominee, and then whatever the file is. Some of them got really long last year, so we had to acronym the award. Oh, it's right here, appendix 9. Complete the biography and the formal statement. This is very important because we have this problem with the recognition program as well. So we also use Smarter Select. When you copy and paste into the text boxes, if you are over the max number of words, it will just tell you the max number of words. If you're under, it will give you an actual word count. So you want to make sure when you copy and paste that you check to make sure that there are no words cut off in the middle, because that will mean that you are over the word count, and it will have truncated your document. Not all of the systems count words the same. So Google Docs versus Microsoft Word versus whatever Apple's program is, right? They all consider some grammatical things either full or partial words. We discovered this last year. Some of them count hyphenated words as just one word. Some of them count hyphenated words as two words. So just make sure when you copy and paste, nothing's cut off the back. Biography and formal statements, same, right? Word count, the way that they count the words, formatting is slightly different, so just make sure it's not cut off. It will give you the number of characters, and it'll cut off the actual word count and just show the maximum number of words. Very important. Ensure letters of recommendation are submitted. Again, letters of recommendation must be submitted via PDF. Make sure to tell them the naming convention. It'll be the award acronym, first name and last name of the nominee, and then the recommender's first and last name. Here's where they would submit it. They'd recommend first name, last name, email address, full name. Some of the awards have requirements for specific letters. So for the Spark Award, which is a mentoring award, at least one of the recommended letters must be from a mentee of the nominee. And so it asks on every submission which one of them meets those requirements. If you do not have any that meet the requirements, or somebody didn't select it correctly, then the packet gets disqualified because it didn't meet the requirements of having at least one letter of recommendation be the mentee of the nominee. So those are the other things to check for disqualification. And then again, letters of recommendation must be submitted as PDF. Award name, nominee name, recommender name, PDF. Professional headshots. So the professional headshot photos are preferred, but this is the one thing where you can submit a headshot photo that meets at least the side requirements, and then if you win, submit a better, more professional headshot photo afterwards. And then if you're nominating a group, like for the Motorola or the Boeing Multicultural Awards, company logos should be submitted here. Ensure to upload any other required documents. The resume or CV will be required, SWE resume, unless it's a group, and a SWE resume if required for SWE leadership track. Maximum 4 pages for each. Make sure that you pay attention to the margins. Be kind to our judges. Anything less than 10-point font, it's tough. It's tough. You can edit the application as long as you like until the deadline or until you hit submit. So, anytime you go in, you'll have to press that button to make any changes. And then before you submit, make sure you have the right award. Check to make sure everything is submitted. You can double check. Double check your application is complete by checking to make sure which application the status is, emails, and I will show you on the next slide. It will show you here, right, submitted, incomplete. This one says pending, and this one says received. So it is not to my preference of the level of visual acuity of whether or not things are complete, but like I would prefer, this to be in like the same letters that they have done for submitted. But only the nominator has access to this information, so it is the nominator's responsibility to make sure everything is submitted and received versus pending before the application is put through. So please, please, please make sure to check. So when it says pending, it does have this little thing at the bottom. It says your application will not be considered complete until this information is received. And you can resend emails to the nominator or to the recommenders to be like, hey, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this, and resend requests. But again, if you put in their corporate email address, it might be blocked. So make sure that you follow up with them personally to see if they've actually received the emails. One of the very, very important first things that you can do when you get somebody's recommender contact information is send them an email and saying, you will receive an email from Smartest Select. Please make sure that you check, I have just sent it. Did you receive it? Etc. And part of being a good nominator. So anytime something's submitted, the nominator will receive an email saying something has been submitted with the timestamp, which is great. And then, of course, after you've submitted it with all of the information, you will receive an email from Smartest Select saying successfully submitted to the following, hopefully the correct award. And if you don't receive that within 5 minutes of submitting, please do email awards@sui.org. There are also some slides in here for recommenders. So if you are a recommender, you will receive an automated email once your name is submitted to the application field and it is either saved or the request is submitted individually. Do make sure that any of your recommenders have received this email from Smartest Select after you send them. It will also ask them, once you submit the information, you cannot return to edit it. So make sure it's complete and in PDF. And ensure that they name the file correctly or that they know how to name the file correctly before they submit it. It should include at least the nominee name and the recommender name in the form. It helps our judges make sure that they've reviewed all of them correctly because they can connect it to the recommender name and the nominee and the award. So, and those are all the slides for this training. I see I have another few questions that have come in. Okay, if you nominate yourself, can you use 2 different emails, one to handle the nominator task and the other one for nominee tasks? You can, I guess. I wouldn't. I'd just use the same email. Yes, this is being recorded to use later. Yes, it's still recording. And I put the recording, I'm pretty sure I asked the recording to be put up on the awards program webpage, but it's possible that we haven't done that yet because both of them hadn't happened. So I will reinforce that when we're done with this. It's a large file, so it's not going to go up immediately. It takes like 3 hours to save it to my drive. Are letters of recommendation submitted by the recommender or the nominee? By the recommender. Nominees cannot submit letters of recommendation. Nominators cannot submit letters of recommendation. It can only be submitted by the person whose email address is submitted to Smarter Select. Is there a one-pager that explains what all the awards are and the requirements? No. Sorry. No. I don't even think I could get it all on one PowerPoint slide. The packet's probably the best at it, and it's kind of just the first one, but the first page and the second page, but there's 36 awards, so the breakdown is just kind of a little big. And the requirements will not. Is there an area on the notification email to the recommenders that state who the letter of recommendation is for? Let me see if that's on the slide, because I don't want to scale back through a bunch of slides. Okay, so the recommender email. Go back. Okay. Every recommender will receive an automated email from Smarter Select once the application is saved or submitted. It will be from automated Smarter Select, but from the person who's nominating to the individual. And it says, has asked you to provide a supporting letter as part of their application. So unfortunately, to get the screenshot, we had somebody from SweHQ like kind of not game the system, but essentially set it up so that we could take screenshots and show you guys what it looks like. So I'm not entirely certain that it will tell you if it's for someone else, if it's not a self-nomination, because that's kind of how we did it to do the packet. So that's a good question. I think we'll have to get back to you on that. It does say provide a supporting letter, but I don't know because it was submitted from someone to the same person so that we can get the screenshot if it states the exact individual that you will be nominating as clearly. Is there a downside to self-nomination? It's a lot of work, but no, there is not a lesser chance of receiving it because you're self-nominating. It's just you have to stay on top of every single thing that needs to be submitted and on top of all the people that need to submit things. And then there's no one to like proof check it. That's really the only downside. All right. Any additional questions? These have all been great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Seeing none other. If you do think of some afterwards, please do reach out at awards@swe.org. And thank you all for joining. We will have the recording up hopefully by the end of the week. I'll try and get them on that. But the updated slides will be on the awards program website. And have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. And engagement was great.
Yeah, it really was.